The first glitch. I was never the kind of guy to get into trouble. My life ran on code and routine. Wake up, coffee, work, dinner, bed. No wild nights. No drama. Just lines of JavaScript and the hum of a quiet apartment. So when a speeding ticket landed in my mailbox from Phoenix, Arizona, a place I hadn't set foot in since I was 12, I figured it was a clerical error. A glitch in the system. But the photo told a different story. It showed a black sedan flying past a highway camera. Behind the wheel was a man with a narrow jawline, unshaven face, and a distinct scar on his right eyebrow, same as me. Even the tired eyes, the subtle frown, the little mole on the neck. He didn't just look like me. He was me. I blinked at the printout, heart beginning to race. What the hell? First I rationalized. Maybe it was a deep fake. Maybe someone messed with traffic data. But what random scammer would go to such lengths for a traffic violation? The next day my bank account told me this was no prank. I got an alert from Chase. Your new credit card ending in 8843 has been used for a purchase of $1,976.12 at Watch World, Phoenix, Arizona. I didn't even have a Chase credit card. I called them, confused, angry, trying not to sound like a lunatic. I never opened this account, I said. I'm in Seattle. I've never authorized any of these charges. The representative clicked her tongue sympathetically. Sir, the card was opened 3 weeks ago in person. We verified your ID and even did a facial recognition scan at the branch. That word again, your face. That night I barely slept. My thoughts pinged between fear and paranoia. Identity theft, sure. But this. Facial recognition. Real-life appearances. No one was just stealing my name. Someone was walking around pretending to be me. The next morning I stared at myself in the mirror. Same face I'd had for 29 years. Brown eyes, slight stubble, the faint scar from a biking accident. But suddenly I didn't trust it. I needed answers. So I requested the branch surveillance footage from Chase. I expected some red tape. But surprisingly, they complied within 48 hours, maybe due to the fraud alert I placed. I downloaded the clip and braced myself as it loaded. The video was short. No audio, just grainy footage of a man in a hoodie walking into the branch. As he stepped up to the counter, he pulled back the hood. Froze. It was me. Same posture. Same way I rubbed my neck when nervous. Same mannerisms. I even recognized the t-shirt. A shirt I'd lost months ago and assumed had vanished in a laundromat. But I knew, deep down, that wasn't me. I paused the frame and took a screenshot, comparing it side by side with a selfie. Not a pixel of difference. Except for one small thing. His scar was on the left eyebrow. Mine was on the right. A mirrored version. Or a flipped image. No, it was more than that, it was intentional. Someone had gone to extreme lengths to become my reflection. I filed a police report. Fraud. Identity theft. Impersonation. The detective I spoke to, a weary guy named Alvarez, seemed skeptical. You're saying someone what? Cloned your face. I don't know. But he's using my name, my face, my lost clothes and opening accounts. Something is going on. Alvarez scratched his beard. Could be a twin you don't know about. I'm an only child. He sighed. Well, we'll check traffic cameras, track transactions, see what we can find. But don't expect miracles. These guys vanish fast. But this guy didn't want to vanish. He wanted visibility. He wanted people to see him and mistake him for me. Over the next week, my digital life started crumbling. I got logged out of my own email account. My Netflix queue showed shows I never watched, weird documentaries in Spanish and disturbing horror movies. My LinkedIn account updated with a new job title, freelance security consultant. My Instagram got wiped clean, replaced by filtered images of Phoenix skyline shots and cryptic captions like, "Freedom isn't anonymity, it's access." Whoever he was, he wasn't hiding. He was replacing me. Terrified, I installed motion sensors at my apartment and cameras at my front door. I changed every password, added two-factor authentication, even reached out to a cybersecurity buddy of mine to run a forensic audit on my devices. He found no malware but paused at one strange detail. Your IP history shows a login from your address last Saturday at 2:14 a.m. I was asleep. He gave me a look. Then someone else was inside your apartment. Chills ran down my spine. I remembered waking up that night, hearing creaks in the hallway. I'd brushed it off as neighbors. But now, he'd been here. I tore apart my place, checking closets, floorboards, vents. Nothing. No signs of forced entry, no fingerprints out of place. But something was missing: my backup hard drive. The one with old photos, family records, childhood videos. He wasn't just copying me, he was studying me. I tried explaining it all to my parents over a jittery call. They were concerned but skeptical. "Maybe you're overworked, Liam," my mom said gently. "Maybe you need a break." But how do you explain to someone that you've been replaced, bit by bit, while still standing right there? Then came the breaking point. A woman knocked on my door. Mid-30s, blonde, wearing a red coat and holding a small gym bag. She looked surprised, then furious. "You said you'd meet me at the station," she snapped. "I'm sorry, do I know you?" She narrowed her eyes. "Don't do that again. You vanished for 2 days and now you're pretending we've never met. We spent the weekend together, Liam." My mouth went dry. "I think you have the wrong guy." But she was already pushing past me, stepping inside, and staring at the framed photo on my wall. "That's the shirt you wore the first night we met," she whispered, voice cracking. "What the hell is going on?" I didn't have an answer. 'Cause neither did I. The woman who knew me. Her name was Kendra. And she swore we'd been seeing each other for over a month. "I don't know who you are," I repeated, trying to keep calm. "But I've never seen you before in my life." She stared at me like I was gaslighting her. Then she marched over to my kitchen table, yanked out her phone and pulled up photos. One by one she showed me. Us at a bar, her head resting on my shoulder. Us on a hiking trail. A blurry selfie of me asleep in her bed. Only it wasn't me. It was him. The man who wore my face. The same clothes I used to own. Same scar. Same everything. But the photos had tiny glitches. Subtle differences. The way he smiled with more confidence. The slight dimple I didn't have. A freckle that wasn't in the right place. "How do you not remember this?" she asked, tears now welling in her eyes. "You met my dog. We watched The Shining together. You told me your favorite band is The National." "I hate The National," I muttered. Pause. That was her moment of doubt. Her lips parted slightly as her eyes darted from my face to the photos. "What's your middle name?" she asked. "Paul." He gasped. "No," he said, "it was James." Finally, the fog in her face started to clear. "Wait. Are you saying someone's impersonating you?" "Not just impersonating," I said. "He's living my life." I showed her the ticket. Chase footage. The hacked Instagram. She sat in stunned silence for minutes. Then she whispered. "He told me his parents were dead. My mom just called me this morning." That was the final break in her denial. Kendra stood and paced the room, piecing it together. "He said he didn't like pictures. Never let me post anything of us. Kept things quiet. Now it makes sense. He's been careful. Surgical," I said. "Only shows up in places I'm not. Uses my name when no one who knows me is around. That's how he's stayed under the radar. But now he's getting bolder." Kendra's voice cracked. "Why me? Why date me?" I didn't know. But I was starting to understand something deeper. This wasn't about stealing money or wrecking a life. It was about replacing one. That night she stayed over. Partly out of fear, partly because we both needed answers. Barely slept. I lay there listening for footsteps, half expecting to hear my own voice whispering in the hallway. In the morning we made a list of everything he touched. Everywhere I had been spotted in Phoenix. She added a few more details. A motel he stayed in, a strange phone number she once saw on his call log, a man named Holt he mentioned once. The way he talked about feeling watched all his life. And then came the most chilling thing she said. One night, I woke up and he was standing in the dark, staring at me. He didn't say anything. Just looked. I met her eyes. Like he was memorizing you. A few hours later, I received an email from an unknown sender. No subject line. No text. Just a link to a Google Drive folder. Inside were hundreds of files. Photos of me dating back to college. Video clips. Job resumes. Scans of my ID. My childhood essays, old emails. Recordings of me speaking in meetings. Every detail of my life catalogued, watched, and archived. The folder name. Liam Paul Mercer Primary. Beneath that was another file. Backups. Dozens of other profiles. Faces. Photos. All similar-looking men. All tracked. Studied. I wasn't the first. He had practiced. I downloaded as much as I could before the folder vanished. Deleted remotely, probably by him. But I had enough. I went to Detective Alvarez again, but this time with Kendra and my evidence. He looked shaken as he scrolled through the folder. This is beyond identity theft. This is stalking. This is obsession. He forwarded everything to a cyber division. But when he ran facial recognition on the bank footage, he got a hit. Not under my name. A match popped up for a man named Ryan Heller, born in Colorado. Arrested twice for petty fraud. Went missing 3 years ago. I stared at the mugshot. It was me. But also not. In the image, Ryan looked a bit younger, hair longer, eyes colder. But the facial structure was eerily similar. Like a genetic sibling. Or someone who designed himself to look like me. How did he do this? Asked. Over his side. Cosmetic surgery. Facial fillers. Or he's just someone who latched onto your image and started shifting his appearance over time. It's happened before. Not common. But not impossible. Then came the next twist. Kendra's phone buzzed. An unknown number. Just one message. Liam is lying. I never hurt you. Ask him what he did in college. We both stared at it. What's he talking about? Kendra asked. I don't know. But something about the wording hit a nerve. Like it was personal. Like he wasn't just copying me. He knew things about me I'd forgotten. I did some digging into my old college hard drives that evening. I found something I hadn't thought about in years. A failed startup idea I had with a guy named Ryan Heller. A coding dropout who'd latched onto me in sophomore year. I remembered him now. Obsessive. Always taking notes. Always asking questions. He'd vanished halfway through the year after I pulled out of our project and told the dean he'd plagiarized my work. I didn't think much of it back then. Just assumed he dropped out. But now, hit me like a punch. He didn't drop out. He started becoming me. The final confrontation. I drove for hours with one destination in mind. A rundown neighborhood outside Flagstaff. Kendra had remembered a motel Ryan once mentioned. Sunview Inn. Not listed online. The kind of place people went to disappear. It was barely more than a parking lot with doors. I parked far enough to watch without being noticed. And I waited. An hour passed. Then 2. And then around dusk he appeared. He was wearing my old leather jacket. My faded jeans. Even the slight limp I'd had last summer after spraining my ankle. He was practicing my pain. My stomach churned. I waited until he entered room 9. Then crossed the lot and knocked. A few seconds passed. Then he opened the door. His eyes met mine and for a moment, neither of us spoke. It was like looking in a mirror, but the reflection had learned to smile differently. Hey, he said casually. You found me. He stepped aside like he'd been expecting me. I walked in. The room was dark, lit only by a desk lamp and a laptop that was already recording. Sit, he said, pointing to the edge of the bed. I'm not staying, I muttered. But you came all this way, he replied, locking the door behind us. Took a breath. Why me? He chuckled. You don't remember me, do you? Ryan. College. He nodded slowly. You were everything I wasn't. Mart. Respected. I watched you walk through life like it owed you something. while I scraped by, invisible. You stole my code, I snapped. I reported you. You vanished. You reported me, he laughed darkly. You destroyed me. You told the dean I was unstable. You made sure no one would ever work with me again. I stared at him. You plagiarized. I studied you, he whispered. That project wasn't mine, true. But you were the project. He opened a drawer and pulled out a stack of folders. Inside were sketches of my face, notes on my speech patterns, a literal timeline of my life. Every trauma, every win, every breakup, things even I had forgotten. Do you know how long it takes to become someone else? He said. 5 years of surgery, 3 years of voice training, thousands of hours studying your mannerisms. I practiced your laugh until my throat bled. You're sick, I said, standing up. But he raised his hand calmly. You've already lost. My phone buzzed. Pulled it out. A notification from my bank. New account access. Arizona branch. My heart dropped. He turned the laptop around. On the screen was a live feed from a lobby. A man who looked exactly like me stood in line, showing my ID. My face. You're not the only one I studied, Ryan said. I made backups. Variations. If I go down, others rise. My voice was ice. You won't win. I already have. I am Liam Mercer. You're just a ghost now. You're the glitch in the system. I made sure of it. But he had made one mistake. I glanced at the desk. His laptop, still recording, still live. Files open. Messages queued. Evidence he didn't know he was broadcasting. I reached forward, yanked the power cord, and grabbed the hard drive. He lunged, but I ducked, slammed him against the dresser, and bolted out the door. Sirens were already in the distance. Kendra had called the cops the moment I told her I was going in. I raced to the parking lot, jumped into my car, and peeled out. He didn't chase me. He knew it was over. 2 weeks later, Ryan Heller, the man who wore my face, was arrested by federal agents. They found over a dozen fake IDs, facial molds, even a small surgery kit. He pled guilty to fraud, impersonation, stalking, and digital crimes that spanned nearly a decade. He never once said my name in court. I sat in the back row and watched as he was sentenced to 25 years. He didn't look at me. He didn't have to. I'd spent months trying to get my identity restored. Legally, digitally, emotionally. The bank reversed the transactions. The DMV issued a new ID. My landlord let me back in. But nothing felt the same. Kendra and I talk sometimes. But there's distance now. Like she's not sure if I'm really me. Or if I'm just another version. Because once someone wears your face, perfectly, precisely, the world never fully trusts you again. Even your own reflection becomes suspicious. And sometimes, when I walk past a mirror too quickly, I think I see him smirking back.